Good morning, everyone. We are live. Yes, another Monday. Shai, my brother, good morning. Happy Monday. Let's get this going. Let's get the blood streams flowing. Happy to have everybody here. I'm a minute. Oh, no, I made on time. I made on time. Yes, I did made on time. Just gonna send this one to my friends on Facebook as well. And we're going to go live on Facebook. And I'm very excited about this call today. I've been doing a lot of reading this weekend, getting ready to start this week in a high note, in a high vibe, giving what I can give the best. Give some of my energy, give some of the value that I've been learning from some great people. Now, again, I read this book a few times, and this book here is the 10x is easier than 2x, written by Dr. Benjamin Hardy and Dan Sullivan. I also read this book written by my good friend, Dr. Ed Rocca. 21 proven ways to build a better life. Yes, I made some notes here that I want to be sharing. And the one and only Myron Golden. I talked about Myron Golden so many times. He's a guy that I follow closely. Most of the content that he come up, I consume. Like I really enjoy reading and watching his content. But anyways, what are we talking about today? Well, when I look outside and look through the window and I see the sunshine coming through, and I remember that yesterday was kind of like a damp day, heating up prior, cloudy, and it wasn't hot. It wasn't super cold, but you need a jacket. Like I mean, especially myself being Brazilian and going outside. If it's anything below 16 degrees, I have a hoodie, I have a tuck, and like the whole gadget and ready to go and rock and roll. But I was just thinking that every single day when we wake up, we have a new opportunity to start over again. Now, yes, when we are facing challenges, when you're facing things that are beyond our control, is especially in especially difficult to keep a positive attitude, right? And have this idea that let's just not talk about anything that is going bad. Let's not talk about anything that is going sideways. I think it's healthy to voice the concerns. I think it's very healthy to voice the struggles, but I always try to see things with the outcome, like with an outcome that things can get better. Now, why I'm saying this, as I was going through the books this weekend, there's a specific phrase that Benjamin Hardy was sharing, and I'm going to start saying here, uncover your past to clarify your future. You know, why do I love this intro and I love this phrase in this special chapter? Because many times we hear the gurus and the mentors talking about forget about the past, just look to the future. What you got you here will not get you that, which I believe. But there's one specific thing that, okay, so then why do we go through experiences? Like these experiences, what can we use for? How can we actually make a difference in your future when you look into our past? Like for me, is an opportunity I have to count my blessings. So yes, I am a certain point today and with a certain level of challenge. And a friend told me that once, for every new level, you have a different devil. In other words, for every new level, you have a new set of challenges, right? And then when I look to the past, it's like, oh, wow, I faced these challenges before. And I thought I would never make it. As a matter of fact, I had people telling me that I wouldn't make it. I had the circumstances telling me that I could not make it. I had all the odds bidding against me, telling me, you can do this, you're not capable of, you're not smart enough, you're not enough. Like, and unfortunately, for whatever reason that I can describe, that's the human nature. Is unfortunate. But then I start thinking, studying, and Steve Jobs, he said a remarkable phrase: "You cannot connect dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking backwards. So you have to trust that the dots will somehow connect your future. You have to build in something, like you have to trust in something, like your gut, your destiny, life, karma, God, whatever it is. You gotta trust something, because believing that the dots will connect down the road will give you the confidence to follow your heart, even when it leads you off the well-worn path. Have you ever experienced a season where you thought and you were confident that you're doing the right thing, but then, as Steve Jobs says, that path that you're in is leading you off the well, which is like, okay, this is the road I have to go, but everything here is screaming at me that's the wrong way to go. Like, anyone has experienced that. Now, so many times. As a matter of fact, I was having a conversation with a great friend of mine this weekend, and she said, we were just having a conversation about some of the challenges that you're facing in our business, in our strategies. And she asked me, like, how can you deal with that? Like, how can you keep yourself sane and keep the smile and keep the energy and keep the vibe? It's like, well, I don't know anything different. Like, what do you mean? I don't know anything different. Well, my life, when I look into my life was built in nothing else but challenges. Like, I never had anything that was like, yeah, that was easy. Yeah, that was good. Like, never. I don't recall. But then it's like, oh my goodness. No, Sandro, something wrong. You should go pray more. And she gave me some interesting suggestions. But then when I look to the past and I look to my entire generation, and I'm saying my entire generation, I'm talking about my parents, I'm talking about my parents' parents, and as far as we can go, because I don't really know much about my father's father or my mom's grandfather, like I don't know a lot. But what I know for a fact is that where I grew up in Brazil, in the hood, that was the norm. My mom's family came from there. Her family's family came from there. Like everybody I know, that was the status quo. But I was that guy. It's like, what else I can do more? What else I can achieve more? And I was always seeking for something different. And as I see myself today and faced with the challenge of, hey, Sandra, you live in Ottawa. Yeah, what does that mean? I mean, you're there and you speak French and you speak English and you speak Portuguese and you can get by in Spanish and you're a lawyer back in Brazil, and then like people start listing the stuff that I've done. So why don't just go and get a job in the government? That's like security, that's safety. And for a moment, like, this is something I've tried. Should I actually go the path? And a part of me convinces me that this is what I should do. I should actually go and look for a job in the government because I have the stability. But I remember when I moved to Canada, 2010, the conservative government was in power. In 2012, they laid off over 10,000 people here in the national capital alone, right? And I know people that they had their jobs there for years and years and years and years, and they offered a package because, hey, you're out of here. Now, so there's no such thing as sense of security. Now, what is my motivation? Why I want to do this? And then again, I look to my past to uncover my future. What I did so far and got me here in a sense of I will do whatever it takes to make this happen. I will walk whatever path I have to walk to make this happen. I will read whatever I have to read. I'm going to listen to whoever I have to listen to. I'm going to do whatever it takes to get the results. And then when I have this line of thought that is directly related to my past, and I look to my future, it's like, well, if I decide to really sit down and study and get a job in the government, everything that I've been building to this point will not necessarily be in direct connection to that, right? Well, what do you mean by that, Sandra? Like, what do you mean? Like, why not? Well, it's not for everybody. And I don't think it is for me, right? Because as I look to the future and I see what is waiting for me, I can't predict. But as Dr. Benjamin Hardy said, look into your past and then clarify your future. And we of course talk about freedom, right? Guys, this is a book that I really, really, really recommend. 10x is easier than 2x. And one of the things that like jumped in my eyes here, he was talking about Dr. Dan Sullivan, who is a strategic coach for over 25 years. And there's a line of thought that was like this. I came at it from two different places in my personal life and my career. For me personally, the concept of 10x is inspiring, and I feel like something I could really get behind to improve my life and my relationships. I particularly appreciate how you frame as qualitative rather than quantitative. It is not about the numbers, but how you fundamentally transform. But from the view of a middle manager, a Fortune 500 publicly traded company, I can't help but be completely frustrated. And I immediately thinking, that would be me getting a job in the government, even if I get a job at the government in like a department that I might enjoy. Anyways, but as we read the book, the concept that talks about 10x itself is actually talking about implementing from where I sit. There are so many layers of bureaucracy that make change in a large organization so difficult. So really, what I take from reading those first 100 pages, another nudging that I need to make a career shift. Again, I don't know where you are in your journey. I don't know where you are in your career. I don't know where you are in your relationships. But something gotta change if you want different results. You cannot expect different results doing the exact same thing that is not working, right? And to be clear, and he continues here, to be clear, this book was written with high-level entrepreneurs in mind. And I'm like, oh man, he wrote this book to me. Like, I read this book when he launched. I actually bought this book on the pre-launch. It was just to be excited. Oh my goodness, I'll be one of the first ones to read the book and to get into the reviews. But then as I'm revisiting the book, it's like, oh my goodness, why I didn't read this again before? This is the beauty of reading different type of books often, because I'm always finding the nuggets in different readings as I keep going. right? Because I definitely read this book before, but this message here on chapter 4 is jumping on my eyes because of what I am at in life today, right? And the most important thing, and I think that's the core message of the book and my message for you this morning. To 10x your life, whatever you are, whenever you are, no matter what you want to do, it's not about the money, it's not about the career, it's not about the status, but it's about freedom. The freedom to be, to live, and to create what you want and how you freaking want. Oh my goodness. Right? And then I shift right to my friend's book, Dr. Ed Rock, and he talks about the growth mindset, and he talks about the fixed mindset, and we talked so many times about this. Alfonso Quadra, he talks often about this. But one thing here, one little thing here that I want to share, like a little nugget, is like to develop a growth mindset is another crucial method for getting rid of limiting ideas. A growth mindset is the conviction that our skills and attributes can be improved through effort, perseverance, and learning, as was covered in other sections of the book. And again, I'm like, how can I do something that will make a huge impact? And there's one guy that my brother follows this guy for so many years. And he always talks about this guy. He's a Brazilian entrepreneur, very successful, young guy, his mid-30s, but very, very, very successful. And I was like, yeah, this is one of those digital gurus. And then my brother sent me an article. It's read this article. And I read the article and I was blown away because this guy, he came to the US and he was in a mastermind with the gentleman that I was part of, not on the same mastermind, but I was part of the mastermind in a different group. But he took everything that he learned, went back to Brazil and applied, and his career took a completely whole different level. But he said something on that article, and I'm like, oh my goodness, I want to see then this guy on YouTube. And then I went to YouTube and I'm watching his videos, and he said, guys, I was like broke and was going through some challenges. And then I decided it was time to change. And I found a way. So he found a way to become a consultant for banks. His then girlfriend, she got a job in Germany. He went along, got this job, and started consulting just the skills that he learned in university and all of that. And then started making like good money, like really good money. He was making on a month what his father and his brother are making a year combined. Very smart guy. It's like, oh my goodness, I made it. So then he saved enough money. He's a very frugal individual. Then he saved some money, and he and his wife, they made a decision. Let's take 3 months of our lives and let's do what we love the most. Let's travel the world. They started traveling anywhere you can imagine. And they made a blog out of it, and they got some sponsorships. Like very, very interesting. Then he said, when you are like 2 months and a few days in, I looked to my wife. It's like, I'm tired of keep doing this. Like all these places that I thought it would be so amazing to go. Yes, don't get me wrong, they are amazing. But we went to Asia, we went to Africa, went to Europe, all over Europe, like biking Europe, the train, backpacking, fancy hotels, like you name it, like the whole level experience. It's like, and yet, I thought when I had enough money and the ability to travel to where I could, there would be it. And yet it's not. I'm like, okay, I'm listening, because that was like many times those are my thoughts, right? When I just have this or when I just have that, I'm gonna make this, I'm gonna do that, like that in the narrative. And I'm listening to this guy. It's like, okay, and I'm consuming his content and reading some of the books that he recommended. And then as I'm scrolling, I come across a video from Will Smith, and he was doing an interview to Joe Hogan. And he said, you know, Joe, um, I am probably one of the most known actors in the globe. There's no place on earth that I've been that people didn't recognize me, that I didn't have to have a pack of security around me just to be able to walk. I made so much money in my career, and I have so much money that I can buy anything you can possibly imagine that is available there. I can buy. And I also thought, hey, if I have these relationships, and he was sharing his own experience. If I have these relationships, and if my life is going a certain way, then will be it. And here I am, and everybody knows what happened with this relationship, right? And he wasn't talking specifically that, but it's like I realized that having all of that and having all the resources, don't get me wrong, having the money, having the status and the fame and the access, they are great, but they are not the things that are making me grow as an individual, right? It's like here. And I'm listening to two guys. One is this guy from Brazil that I'm just getting to know his content, and now Will Smith that everybody knows. I'm like, okay, how many times I found myself in a challenge and I had this thought, oh, if I only had this amount of money, or if I only had this amount of resources, or if I only had this access, or if I only knew this person, things would be different. Okay. And again, I'm not saying they are bad, but what I am challenging myself, and I want to challenge you this Monday morning, is just to change the narrative slightly and say, with the resources I have in my hands, with the abilities I have in front of me right now, what are the things that I can do right here, right now, that will actually start to make a difference, that will actually start to make an impact, and apply these things? It doesn't matter, in my opinion, the rich. Maybe you want to make a difference in the life of your spouse or in the life of your children. Or you are someone that gives so much of you, and you also need to look in the mirror and pay attention to the little me that you're seeing in front of the mirror. Mirror, 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 right? Or you just want to be and have joy. I was through the business, and many of you guys know that I'm in the flower business now. Um, we're looking to some alternative and some ideas, and I'm bouncing with my team and my business partner. And as we are looking to plants, and I'm learning a lot because I don't know anything about plants, so I'm learning about them. The one thing that I see is a trend and people talking about the impact of floral and touch and the sensory effect of plants and flowers to help with mental health and everything related, right? I'm like, okay. So as we look into this, I'm like realizing that many times I'm at the flower shop and a client walk in, it's like, oh my goodness, the smell of this place. And I'm like, I can't smell the flowers, or I can't have the same experience that individuals are having because that became a norm. And that goes to so many things. Like when I look around my house, and I was driving yesterday, so there's a street right in front of my house. And then I was driving here. I remember back in 2014 when I was working for Bell. I was used to work for Bell, and I was a satellite technician, right? And I was going to houses and different places, putting satellite dishes so people could have access to their Bell TV. That was before fiber optics. So it's even before that, it was probably 2013, 2014. Anyhow, I remember when I was living in Gatineau at the time, the Quebec side, and when I had some jobs here in Empire, every time I was in Empire, I would drive down this street to the end. There's a cul-de-sac, and I would say, if I live in Empire one day, this is the street that I want to live in. Like so many times. Well, I do live in the street now, but it became the norm. And so I was driving home yesterday with my boys, and I'm like, my kid said, our house is pretty nice, eh? I'm like, it's okay. Why? Because in my mind, I want to have this big, massive, impressive Hollywood type like house. I want to live in a mansion. My thought, my son. I don't want to live in a mansion. Why? We have a friend that actually lives in a mansion in Toronto, and we visited them. Like, you have intercom through the house. Anyways, and my kid is just saying, no, it's too big. And his line of thought, it's too much cleaning. There's a 9-year-old telling me that living in a mansion would be too much cleaning. Like, son, come on. When they're living in a mansion, they're gonna have so much money. They're gonna have like an army of cleaners. Like, having these conversations. But that brought me back, right back. As I'm thinking about these things, and I'm thinking about these challenges, and I'm thinking about these experiences that I'm having. I'm like, oh my gosh, I live in the street that I always dream of. Like, I'm right here. And yet, as I can't smell the flowers anymore, as I am here living the street that I always said I was going to live one day, I'm getting things for granted. I'm forgetting that looking to my past to help me to clarify my future. And then I came across this article that Maloney passed away. And Maloney was a politician in Canada, personality. And the article was saying, Tim Malone lived in the same house for 70. He lived in the same house for 70 years. And then the article is just talking about how he lived in the same house for so many years. And they did a survey, and they learned that the very wealthy individuals that build massive houses, they're actually less happy. Okay, so this is a whole crazy conversation, because I start talking about the whole idea of traveling the world, and the whole idea of coming and looking in the mirror and trying to find your oneself and find the happiness. Like, where am I going with this? Like, why I'm talking about these things? Because it's not about the house, it's not about the money, it's not about the status, it's not about anything of that. But it's about finding the one thing that you know you love, and you love so much that you would do for free. Like, think about this. What is the one thing that you like so much to do that if you have to share the one thing with other people, you do for free? Because it's like, this for me is like a passion. Like, for me, is this new found amazing experience of coaching, mentoring, this whole new universe for me. And I love it, right? Mindset and motivation and changing and brainstorm and mindstorm. Like, I love this. So much so that I can do this for free. I actually do it. So then, when you find the one gem, the one thing, start helping one person. And the one person that you help another person. And the other person is going to help another person. And then you start this whole new trend of people following the one passion that you're coming with. Because as you're doing this, you're not doing for the money. Like, I promise you, when you are doing the thing that you know you love, therefore, I personally believe that's your calling. Guess what? The wealth and the riches and the money will follow, because you are not doing for the money. Like, honestly, doing things only for the money, I mean, it gotta be a lot of money, because if I'm going to spend most of my time, just give me 1 second and finish my thought. If I'm doing that one thing that I'm doing because of money, and I'm going to spend most of my time doing that, it gotta be worth. But then, guys, I've done that. I was working for a company in Ottawa that is in the HVAC industry. Guys, I was making like a lot of money. I never made so much money in my life to sell furnaces and air conditioners. Like, I was making money. They sent me to Edmonton, and that was it. I even got a proposal from the manager there at the time. Sandro, move here. And in my mind, that would be a no-brainer, because they would add another 6 figures to our making. And then with that new addition, I could leave the house that I'm living here in Empire right now. And at the time, I could buy a house there with no mortgage in a very nice neighborhood in the Botanic Garden in Edmonton. If you are from Edmonton, you know the Botanic Garden, you know what I'm talking about. And then, right there in my mind, that's it. I'm going to move my family across Canada. But my motivation was money. I want to live mortgage free and have all this money. And then my wife at the time said, Sandro, I don't think that's the right decision. That's not the right move. Why is not? Well, your parents, they live in Florida. My parents, they live 20 minutes from us. I want our kids to grow up with at least one set of grandparents. Honey, I'm going to be making so much money and so much extra money in our pockets that I'm going to fly our parents every weekend if they want. Now, of didn't move. This is awesome. The kids are getting ready for school, and I get so excited. But I want to finish this thought. I decided not to go. Now, that came with a cost because I'm not mortgage free. I'm not making that money anymore because I had a shift in my career. And I was in a much better financial predicament if I had made a decision other than staying. But because I decided to stay, I then start doing other things that are directly related to my passion, to my gift, that I'm really gifted at, that I recognize in other individuals, they also recognize. And I'm started listening to that voice, right? Like that gut voice that comes from here and listening to it. Yes, it might look like that what I'm going through is the end, but it's just the beginning. It's forging my character. It's forging my mind. It's forging who I am. So then when I get to the place I'm going to stay there. I will not want to leave, right? Think about this. As you're going through stuff and going through the experience, so like one example, being a real estate investor, Charlie, being a real estate investor, and we go through the hoops of the market, right? And then I'm like, okay, guys, give me 1 quick second. Come on. Going through these hoops. And now we are in the deep of the market. The interest rates are so high, and so it's not as easy as it was. I'm like, oh, why did I do this or why did I do that? And we can get ourselves consumed by these things other than say, what did I learn? And where do I go from here? Oh, I invested this money. I invested into this community. I got into this mastermind group and I listened and I didn't get any results. But then my challenge for myself and my challenge for you, what did you learn? Even if the experience wasn't the experience you were looking for and got you to a place of sorrow and pain, can you use that as a fuel to help others that might be in the situation that you were, so then you can lead them to a better path and help them avoid the pitfall? Because now, even if you just started, but you're already 1 step ahead of whoever is the person that is coming after you just to learn. And guys, this micro learning concept I love so much because this is what I'm trying to do. I read the books, I try to apply, and I come here and I share, right? And then at times people are like, oh my goodness, Sandra, that was a great, but I'm learning from other people that already walked the walk and did the path. And now as we go through these challenges, then you grow a little more, then you grow a little more, and then you grow a little more. And I promise you, I already said that, I want to finish my line of thought saying this. Look into the past, look into the experiences that you had, look into everything that happened to your life to this point, and use that as like the good, the bad, and the ugly. Make an analysis of this and say, now, how can I get this experience? How can I get all of this as a fuel to keep pushing forward? And don't give up. The blessing, the prize, the results are for those who will persevere. As Eleanor Roosevelt, she said, the future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams. Don't stop dreaming. Keep pushing forward. And by the way, before I go, that's the last thing I want to share with you guys. And now it's coming up next month in May, at the end of the month, my good friend and mentor and like role model, like a guy that I love, he and his wife, Mr. Steve Cody, a serial entrepreneur. and myself, we are putting together a workshop that will be in Ottawa at the Lansdowne Park. We have a room that already have the room secured, facing the field. Beautiful place to have a personal and private chef coming. And we're going to have this 2.5 to 3 hours event that are putting together to talk about entrepreneurship. I am now running a startup that I bought a business. If you're running a business, you're thinking about running a business, if you're in real estate and you're treating your real estate as a business, you want to be part of this. But I will say this, we only have 12 spots available. I already have 3 spots. We didn't even launch yet. Have 3 spots that are gone. So basically, I only have 9 more spots. We'll be officially launching this week. And this is like the pre-launch is $99. That includes the event, the content, the value. It also includes the food, right? Because we're going to have an experience with a private chef. And we're going to have this workshop talking about the good, the bad, and the ugly of being entrepreneur. Steve Cody, he's a master of startups. He opened in his lifetime over 30 different successful businesses. Some of the business had massive success. Some business failed, but he kept moving, he kept creating. And then myself, who I'm not going to say I'm one of the most creative individuals there, but I'm so curious and so resilient and so persistent that I don't take the no as the answer, and I keep moving forward. So I'm co-hosting this event. If you're interested in learning more about this, send us a private message. Make sure to secure a place. And guys, have an amazing week. Stay blessed by the best. And I see you guys all the way to the top. Let's go. Have an amazing week, guys. I see you guys at the top. Take care, y'all.